and welcome to Roads Renewed. My name is Kosi Anyao. This program, brought to you by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, highlights the agency's ongoing efforts to improve and maintain Nigeria's federal road infrastructure. On today's episode, we place the spotlight on a very important innovation in road construction and maintenance: rigid concrete pavement. So, what exactly is rigid concrete pavement? Unlike flexible pavements made with asphalt, rigid pavements are constructed using reinforced or plain concrete slabs. This makes them more durable, longer lasting, and better suited to withstand heavy traffic loads and extreme weather conditions. While the initial cost of construction may be higher, the life cycle cost is much lower because rigid pavements require less frequent maintenance. This innovation is being championed by the Federal Ministry of Works under the leadership of Senator Engineer Dave Umahi, and is gradually transforming the way we build and maintain roads in Nigeria. Already, it's being implemented in the landmark projects such as the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the Sokoto-Ilela Zaria roads, and sections of Abuja-Lokoja dual carriageways, setting new standards for durability, safety, and value for money in road construction. This has indeed been a game changer by the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Renewed Hope government in the infrastructure landscape of Nigeria. FEMA, as part of its mandate, has also adopted this approach in some of its key interventions across the country. By introducing rigid pavement into select maintenance works, this agency is ensuring the critical sections of the federal roads not only get repaired, but also rebuilt to withstand decades of use. This means stronger, safer, and more sustainable roads for Nigerians. After the break, we will introduce our special guests who will shed more light on this innovation and FEMA's broader vision for road infrastructure in Nigeria. Roads Renewed will be right back. Please stay with us.
We've all felt it. The dangerous potholes that destroyed our cars and caused accidents, the bad roads, the washout, the cut-off bridges and embankments that prolong our journey time. But across Nigeria, something new is happening. Committed officials of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency FEMA are on the ground. They are not just patching the potholes, they are monitoring, updating and reporting the conditions of our roads, undertaking maintenance operations and renewing hopes, connecting our communities one bit by bit. From bustling markets to long-haul journeys, better roads mean safer trips, faster trade, enhanced security, reduced vehicle maintenance costs, and more precious time with loved ones. This is the commitment of FEMA, investing in our infrastructure, investing in our future. Roads Renewed, FEMA, connecting Nigeria.
Welcome back to Roads Renewed, a program brought to you by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. Before the break, we began a conversation on rigid concrete pavement, an approach now being adopted by FEMA in some of its maintenance works. To take this conversation further, we sat down with our own MD CEO, Engineer Dr. Emeka Agbasi. Dr. Agbasi is a seasoned civil engineer with an MSc DIC in concrete structures and a PhD in civil engineering from the Imperial College, London, and the University of London. He also holds a postgraduate certificate in engineering management from the University of Bath Management School, United Kingdom. With over 30 years of local and international experience in engineering and management, spanning design, construction, structural investigation, materials testing, product development, and project management, Dr. Agbasi brings both expertise and vision to FEMA's mission. Let's take a look at our interview with him. We're back again today with the MD CEO of FEMA on the show Roads Renewed. We'll be talking about the use of concrete pavement technologies as opposed to the popularly known asphalt used on our Nigerian roads. For the benefit of our viewers, can you tell us concisely what is concrete pavement technology, and how does it differ from asphalt that is currently used on the Nigerian roads?
Concrete pavement is made up of water, cement, coarse aggregate, and fine aggregate. And when it hardens, it forms a rigid mass, hence concrete rigid pavement. Unlike concrete pavement, asphalt pavement is made up of bitumen, which is a byproduct of a petroleum industry refinery, and aggregates. And they come together when mixed together to form asphaltic concrete pavements, or asphaltic concrete rather. And so the major distinction between the two is one material is flexible, which is asphaltic pavement, and the concrete is rigid. So in terms of load distribution, you have a wider spread of the loads on concrete pavements, while asphaltic pavements rely on underlying layers to distribute the loads. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. That is interesting. So if I got you correctly, the concrete pavement technology can bear more loads on it as opposed to the asphalt that is currently being used.
Yes, because it distributes load wider better compared to asphalt. Asphalt itself is a flexible pavement, cannot carry much load. It depends on the different layers underneath it to take the load to the subgrade.
All right, thank you very much for that answer, sir. So could you expand on that first? Can you tell us more about the advantages of concrete pavement over the use of asphalt?
Concrete pavements have a longer lifespan. Concrete pavements could last up to over 80 years, as opposed to asphalt. Asphalt, the lifespan is about maybe 15 to 20 years. Yeah. So you can say there's a difference in durability between the two materials, that is concrete pavement and asphalt. And also, in terms of maintenance cost, it's much lower with concrete pavement than asphalt. So when you have a lower maintenance cost, it means that the whole life cost of concrete pavement is much lower than asphalt. And also heat resistance, particularly in hot climates. Asphalt pavements are prone to deterioration or melting and aging process, which concrete pavements are not affected by such. So they are more resistant to heat than asphalt pavements. Then also there's the environmental benefits. For concrete pavements, there's a reduction in fuel consumption because of the lower rolling resistance of the tires as compared to asphalt. The rolling resistance of the tires for heavy goods vehicles is much lower, and because it's much lower, that reduces the fuel consumption for on concrete pavements than asphalt pavements. Then I've also mentioned the whole life cost. The whole life cost for maintenance cost for asphalt pavements is much higher than concrete pavements.
Could you talk us through the possible limitations? Because obviously there has to be something to watch out for, to be wary about the use of concrete pavement technologies.
Well, I have one is the construction time, the time it takes to make the pavements available to road users, because concrete needs to be cured. And curing is that period that you allow for the strength gain for concrete to take place. Most standards, will, depending on the kind of additives that was used in concrete, could be 28 days or more. So in making, in terms of making the pavements available to road users, it will take more time compared to asphalt pavements. And also cracking. Cracking affects concrete pavements because of the daily variations in temperature. So they have high and low temperatures. So what the concrete tends to do is it contracts or expands. When you have high temperature, it expands. When you have low temperature, it contracts. So this movement, if the concrete is not well designed or well placed, is likely to cause cracks in the concrete. So attention is paid in the design and also construction of concrete pavements to make sure that the necessary restraints are put in place so that the concrete does not crack. But once the concrete cracks, that's an area of weakness for deterioration to start.
Okay, that's really interesting to know about the limitations. I'll quickly ask you, because you did mention about the time it takes for concrete to cure, and given that Nigerians are very keen for roads to be completed quickly, could you be specific about the length of time it might take for concrete to be cured?
Normally, in most concrete textbook, it's traditional curing of concrete for ordinary Portland cement concrete is about 28 days. But depending on the additives, if you are accelerating the strength gain, then the curing period may reduce. But it depends on what is in the specification for any particular works. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. So, but again, just quickly, I learned from what you're saying that concrete is more complex to fix as opposed to asphalt. However, it's not something that gets broken easily, right? Could you please expand a bit on that part?
Yeah, when you have isolated failures on concrete, compare that to a similar failure on asphalt pavements. A saw can easily, because it's a flexible pavement, it's not as hard as concrete. With a saw, you can quickly cut off the fill section and patch it immediately. But concrete is more stronger than asphalt, and also has reinforcement in it. So deliberate attention needs to be given to the repairs of fill sections in concrete.
Well, that wouldn't be a frequent occurrence for concrete as opposed to asphalt?
It shouldn't be.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to quickly ask you about the appraisal of the concretes that have been used so far on Nigerian roads. So given the climate conditions in the country, what do you think about the concrete that is already existing in the country?
In the absence of long-term pavement performance studies, empirical information we have today suggests that the concrete pavements we have in Nigeria is performing well. And also, this is backed up by studies in other countries, in countries like India and Kenya, that have similar climatic conditions to Nigeria. Studies there have shown that concrete pavement is proven, it's durable against hot weather conditions, erosion, and fuel spillage on the pavements. Yeah. It will be a game changer provided that certain conditions are met. One is where you have a road that is that has heavy goods vehicle or heavy traffic load on it, and also the soil conditions are weak. And if there is no money for sustained repairs, then it's it's more safer to have a concrete pavement to give a long-lasting solution. In Nigeria, we have abundant supply of materials, aggregate cement. So these materials will support our infrastructure and also the economy, because these are local materials, yes. I think concrete pavements is more than roads. I think these are long-term investments that will transform the road sector in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that interesting insight. We've learned a lot about concrete pavements today as opposed to the asphalt. And we really appreciate the time that you've spent sharing those information with us. So that will be all from our guest today. Thank you for joining us once again. Now, as part of our continued focus on road rehabilitation and maintenance across the country, we take you to Lagos State, where impactful work is being carried out under FEMA's mandate. This particular intervention is the reinstatement of critically failed sections, access lanes, and the distilling of drains along the Ijora Causeway Road within FEMA Lagos 1 jurisdiction. In this project, FEMA has adopted the rigid concrete pavement approach, ensuring durability and sustainability in a location that is both strategic and heavily trafficked. Let's take a look.
The Ijora Causeway remains a lifeline for Lagos. This vital artery is a major route to Apapa Wharf, one of Nigeria's busiest seaport, carrying thousands of commuters, heavy trucks, and goods worth billions of naira every day.
We are at Ijora Causeway. Ijora Causeway is a point that links Apapa Port or Apapa Wharf with the Lagos or the remaining part of the Lagos Island. It's a very important industrial layout.
But over the years, failed sections, clogged drains and collapsing access lanes by kilometer 1+200 to kilometer 1+437 have threatened its efficiency. Now, the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency FEMA has stepped in to change that story. On the FEMA Lagos East 1 field headquarters, the critical reinstatement project is underway. Failed sections have been rebuilt, access lanes restored, and drains desilted. But more importantly, FEMA has introduced the rigid concrete pavement approach, a long-lasting, sustainable solution fit for the heavy axle loads and constant traffic this corridor endures.
The failure has been a very critical failure, and it has been in existence for a very long time. And one of the reasons of those failures is the deterioration of the road pavement over time without proper maintenance activities. And the major reason why it rapidly deteriorates is as a result of overloading. High or excessive axle loading on a pavement results in the rapid deterioration. And because most of the vehicles that are passing here are heavy-duty vehicles carrying a heavy load from the ports, seaports, mainly containers, so they exert an excessive load on the pavement. The failure was diagnosed, and we carefully studied the problem or the failure. We observed that the best solution to this problem is to construct a rigid pavement, not flexible pavement. A rigid pavement is a reinforced concrete that is made of concrete as well as the reinforcement, that is the iron rods. It is a pavement that is more durable than the flexible pavement, which is made of asphalt. And that is after a proper design. We came up with the right cross-section, the thickness of the pavement, as well as the right dimension of the pavement.
For the Ijora community, this intervention means more than just smooth ride. It means safer access for residents, fewer accidents, cleaner surroundings, and renewed economic activity.
I'm very excited for the federal government and also the FEMA for this work which they do for us here. Likewise, like before, the place was very, very rough. And like now, the place is very okay, which I believe each and every member living around this area is very comfortable and very excited with what federal government and FEMA did for us here.
I really thank God for the management of FEMA, who has finally remembered us in this very place. We know before now the state of these roads. Just in my own company here, down after this First Bank, for like over how many years you could not do business because of the bad of these roads. But today, there is a smile in our face. We're really enjoying it. It's interesting as you can see. I really say thank you. People have done a very wonderful thing that I pray God will keep you and your management. It's a good doing this kind of good job.
The Apapa port handles over 70% of Nigeria's import and export trade. Every delay on the Apapa-Ijara causeway translates to lost man-hours, increased transport costs, and higher prices for goods across the country. FEMA's intervention is not just about roads, it's about sustaining Nigeria's economy. This project combines engineering precision with environmental awareness. The rigid pavement ensures durability, the desilting of drains prevents flooding, and the restoration of access lanes makes movement seamless for commuters and businesses alike.
So the scope of work of this project include, first of all, try to drain or dewater the area because there was a ditch. There was a ditch of about 2 meter depth and filled with water because there was no way for water to pass. So we have to drain the water. After draining the water, the next was to remove all the molds, all the unsuitable material that are deposited over a long period of time. After removing that unsuitable material, the next is to lay our hard core. That is the big stone called boulders. They were laid in layers of over 1 meter. And each layer, the void between the boulders was filled with sharp sand in order to give it the required stability. After finishing that, the next we had to do was to lay a layer of stone base. And that stone base, a thickness of about 300 mm stone base. After that, the next was to do the blinding. After the blinding with a 50 mm thickness of weak concrete, the next was to lay our reinforcements. And we arranged our reinforcements. After the arrangement of the reinforcement and the necessary shattering, that is what the carpenter did. The next was to lay our 200 mm thick concrete pavement.
FEMA, they're trying their own best and they do the work where it's not everybody can do it because they do a lot of job here because this place now is okay. Because me, I dey aware of the time when they start this road. Before they start this road, they put a iron digger, then do the correct road in this road. So alhamdulillah, the road is okay now. We can sell our market very well.
I'm the happiest person today because it's a gift from the federal government for my 30th anniversary.
Here at the Ijora community to inspect the road that is under repairs, which is almost 70 to 80% repairs, that is linking the community of Ijora and the Lagos terminal all the way to Apapa and back to Lagos terminal. This is one of the commercial lab center in Lagos, creates a lot of jobs opportunities that even unemployed youth. Had enough brief from the director and from the MD. Let me seize this opportunity to congratulate the community of Ijora. In line with the renewed growth agenda, what we are seeing here today is the recovery of roads that would have been not in sight if this was not. It's done on reinforced concrete.
The Apapa Ijora Causeway is more than concrete and asphalt. It is a symbol of connectivity, commerce, and community. With this intervention, FEMA reaffirms its commitment to safer, stronger, and more sustainable roads for Lagos and for Nigeria.
That brings us to the end of today's episode of Roads Renewed. We welcome your feedback and engagement through our official platforms. Facebook, Official FEMA Nigeria Headquarters. X, Fed Roads NGR. Email, info@fema.gov.ng. You can also visit our website at www.fema.gov.ng. Until next time, bye for now.